Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our webinar on deciphering RoadTEP scheme. As all of you are aware that the government announced this scheme a couple of days back. So I'll start today's session with an anecdote. So there's a Hindi saying, "Khoda pahad nikli chuiya." So in this case, in fact, many of the exporters couldn't find even that chuiya also. So overall, the scheme is very, very disappointing. There were tall promises which were made by the government. The government delayed it significantly. So the exporters had huge expectations from the scheme. Government says that it wants to promote Make in India. It wants to make India as an export hub. Prime Minister wants export levels to rise significantly. But when we see as a ground reality, there is no encouragement for exports. And very frankly, leave aside giving some extra incentives, this RoadTEP scheme was to compensate exporters for taxes actually incurred by them, the taxes actually collected by central and state government. So even the government is not willing to reimburse that. And even in past 1.5 years also, we have seen such a cold response of the government towards exporters community. The government brought cap on MEIS in September 2020. Both MEIS and SEIS portals are closed. We cannot get scripts for the past. And as far as service exporters are concerned, there's absolutely no clarity from 2019-20 as to whether they will get any benefit, whether how much will be the quantum of benefit, etc. So it seems that even though this scheme was announced from January 2021, but the government consciously delayed the announcement of the scheme. I think the government wanted exporters to live their life without expecting any sorts of export incentives. So the exporter should not factor in any incentive, RoadTEP, etc., while pricing their products. One important statistics I want to highlight here is that the RoadTEP scheme is for exports of general goods, and the government has allocated budget of close to 13,000 crores for that. Similarly, a few weeks back, the government announced a similar scheme which is called RoSCTL, which is rebate of state and central taxes and levies, which is for the textile and garment sector. So even though intervening some period, the government put the scheme on hold, but subsequently the government restored it from retrospective effect. So very importantly, the textile sector do not get any MEIS benefit at all, but their benefits, etc., are intact. The irony is that the India made exports of close to $280 billion in the last financial year, out of which $28 billion was only textile exports, so close to 10%. But if we see government's allocation for the current year, 13,000 crores have been allocated for RoadTEP and 7,000 crores have been allocated towards RoSCTL. So in other words, for 10% of value of export goods, the government is giving benefit of more than 33% of their overall budget. So I'm joined by my colleague Parul, who is a senior research associate in our firm. So Parul, over to you.
Thank you, Puneet. Good afternoon, everyone. As all have discussed, shared their viewpoints regarding the RoadTEP scheme, now let's see what's there in news. So initially, when the RoadTEP scheme was announced and the same wasn't notified by the government, it was likely to boost the exports, and people were expecting it to be export-friendly scheme. But the reality is totally different. Like the scheme was when introduced, the budgeted outlays approximately uh, across 12,000 crore rupees, and steel pharmaceutical products have been kept outside the ambit of RoDTEP scheme. We'll be discussing all these in detail in the upcoming slides. Now, again, the farmer has filed the representations for to the Department of Commerce to reconsider whether the same can be included or not. Again, the exporters are worried for the rates that have been notified, like Ganesh sir just shared. The representations filed by the industry was quite higher, and the rates that have been notified by the government is on a very lower side, which is actually leading to a loss for the exporter community. Then, after spending so many months in just announcing the rates, again, the rates weren't meeting the expectations of the exporters, right? So we have divided our webinar into 6 parts. First, we'll be drawing a comparison with the earlier MEIS scheme. Then we'll discuss the background. Then we'll be covering benefit, ineligible categories that are there under the RoDTEP, and what is the process. And yes, with the way forward and live Q&A, we'll close the webinar. So before delving into the details of the RoDTEP scheme, let's first understand what is the basic difference if we compare it to the earlier MEIS scheme. And regarding this, we run a poll question and we ask the participants which scheme they feel is a better one, MEIS or RoDTEP. So results are quite obvious. 80% voted for MEIS and 15% voted for RoDTEP. Now, why these 15% voted for RoDTEP is actually shocking for me. Because it's very clear that the RoDTEP scheme is not at all exporter friendly, and it's very, very disappointing. So let's quickly see the basic differences between the two schemes. As highlighted, the objective of MEIS scheme was to offset the infrastructural inefficiencies. And due to this, the WTO directed the Indian government to shut down this scheme and introduce, and resultantly, the government introduced another scheme, which is the RoDTEP scheme. And the objective is to refund the embedded taxes and duties in the exported products, which are not otherwise refundable to the exporters. The range of benefit under the MEIS scheme ranged from 2% to 5%. But if we see the RoDTEP scheme, it's just ranging from 0.01% to 4.30%. Now one can say 4.30% is close to the 5% higher limit of the MEIS scheme. But the case is no, because in the next slide you'll see the majority of the products are not even touching the higher limit of the RoDTEP scheme range. And the utilization of scrips are concerned under the MEIS, the same could be utilized for the payment of BCD, that is your basic customs duty, along with additional custom duty, that is your SAD, CVD. As far as RoDTEP scheme is concerned, scrips can be utilized only for the payment of basic customs duty. So another question that we shared with our participants was, do they feel government did justice to the exporter community by announcing such lower rates? So answer is quite obvious. 64% felt that they didn't did justice to the exporters, and 20% feel that they did justice. And this is again shocking for me as well. So we'll quickly see what is the difference between the rates that are there, and that was there under the MEIS and that are now under the RoDTEP scheme. So if you see, in few cases, rather in majority of the cases, the higher limit of the RoDTEP scheme is not even touching the lower rate of the MEIS scheme, or it's just even touched. If you see the chemicals, footwear, machinery, vehicles, they have just touched the lower limit of the rate benefit that was available under the MEIS scheme. So that is why the exporters are extremely disappointed with the government. And as participants have already shared, while filing the representations, the rates that were submitted to the government actually haven't been even considered, and what basis they followed is still a question mark for us.
So here a couple of points, Parul, I want to add. One, even these rates which are coming on the slide is not certain that you will get in the future. So because of this budgetary cap which they have put, so recently our Prime Minister announced that last year our exports were $280 billion, which should increase to $400 billion. So if overall exports increase, or for any reason the budgetary cap is budgetary cap is crossed, in that case even these rates will not be available. So the government will prune these rates further. So one thing I want to highlight to the participants is that even though the presently rates, like Ganesh gave an example that there's almost a 75% reduction, so the reduction can actually be more as time passes.
Very rightly mentioned, Puneet. Now, coming to the background, as we have discussed that earlier, presently the foreign trade policy has been extended to September 30th, 2021, and this is due to the COVID. Howsoever, the MEIS scheme, the benefit under MEIS scheme was withdrawn on January 1st, 2021, since it wasn't complying to the SCM agreement. And simultaneously, government introduced the ROTEP scheme. Now, again, this introduction, this implementation was half-heartedly, as the rates weren't notified, nor the scheme was notified. And henceforth, the exporters faced difficulties in deciding on the pricing of the consignments and in making a prudent choice as to what scheme they should go for, either advance authorization, because under the ROTEP scheme, if you are going for a ROTEP, advance authorization is not allowed. So such decisions was actually very tricky for the exporters to make during this period. And thankfully, and finally, the government notified the ROTEP scheme along with the rate on 17th of August 2021. So let's quickly see what are the features of this ROTEP scheme. So as we are from the beginning, we are mentioning it is compliant to the WTO agreement, as it aims to refund the embedded costs and duties that are there in the exported products. For example, it could be your electricity duty, mandi tax, or say excise or VAT on fuel, etc. So these, the purpose was to reimburse such taxes which are not otherwise refundable to the exporters. Importantly, the ROTEP benefit won't be available for those duties, taxes, and levies that are otherwise refundable, exempted, or remitted under any other schemes. The government has reserved the powers to make rules and procedures on various parameters. For example, first is regarding the manner of application, the time period within which such application has to be filed, what documentation is required, if the exporter hasn't realized the sale proceeds, then how the recovery to be done. Government can suspend, withdraw the benefit if the same has been taken fraudulently, and imposition of penalty. Here we would like to highlight there is no such provision for the imposition of interest. So say if someone has utilized the scripts wrongly or availed the benefit wrongly, then presently there is no such power to levy interest. It only talks about the levy of penalty.
So couple of things, Parul, I want to highlight here. One is that whatever these export incentives, and for that matter, like in GST, input tax credit is there. So these are the prerogative of government whether to give or not. So even though the scheme aims to refund all taxes, etc., but in our view, the government is not obligated to do that. So like Ganesh was rightly mentioning that when they actually worked out the incidence, it worked out to say 3 to 4%, but the government has fixed 0.7% only. So whether to grant benefit or not, or how much to grant, is totally government's prerogative, and that cannot be questioned. The second point which I want to highlight is that this is the first scheme which I saw which was floated in air. So on January 1, 2021, there was an announcement that there will be a ROTEP. And there was absolute silence on legislative side, like issuing relevant notification, procedures, rates, etc., for almost 8 months. in my view, even today, the government has only made a policy statement by amending the foreign trade policy. So the rules and procedures are yet to be out. Again, there is no clarity by when they will come out. So exporters getting this tangible benefit in near future is unlikely. So it will actually depend on rules and procedures when they will be brought in. And secondly, to ensure that the government remains in the budgetary cap. So we need to see how they will be implementing. Will they be making something like SEIS that once a financial year ends, they new file claims, etc. So a lot of things still need to be done from the government side.
And seeing government's response in the prior period,
Yeah. So
unlikely
another
by
8
when-
months we can expect.
True.
Yeah.
So the next feature, as Puneet very rightly highlighted, is the budgeted outlay. So the rates that we discussed in the previous slides, as mentioned, are not certain. Definitely, they are not certain because they will again be restricted by the budgeted outlay that the government has allocated for the scheme. So government can make calibrations, revisions on need basis. So say in the mid of the financial year, the government realizes that the benefit that has been granted under the RoadTep scheme actually upshoots the budget that they have allocated for the scheme. So prospectively, definitely they'll reduce the rates of benefit. But what about retrospective? Can they make such changes? What do you think?
So, Parul, in my view, the way policy is framed, in my view, they cannot make a retrospective change. It needs to be prospective only. But yeah, this still remains a puzzle as to how they will be implementing it. Will they be tracking on a HSN or consignment-wise basis as to whether this budgetary cap is met or not? And secondly, I just fail to understand that when their overall objective, or in fact, for every country, the objective is to encourage exports, why bring budgetary cap at first place?
True. Along with that, they have mentioned that they won't allow any carry forward for the areas of contingent liability to the next financial year. Also, the Department of Commerce has the power to decide on the sequence of the sectors, like they can prioritize to which sectors they allocate the budget on a higher side and to which on a lower side. So they all have those powers and they can accordingly decide. Now, with this background, let's understand what are the benefits that are available under the RoadTep scheme. So the first genre of the benefits that is available to the exporters is like they have specified a percentage which will be calculated on the FOB value. Now, this percentage, as we discussed in the previous slides, is ranging from 0.01% to 4.3%. On few of the products, they have also mentioned a cap per unit. For example, in case of saris, handlooms, they have specified certain cap on the product along with the range. Now, either the percentage is there or the next set of benefits is on few products, they have mentioned the fixed amount per unit on which the RoadTep benefit will be granted. Majorly, vehicles with the capacity of less than 13% are covered over here. Now, this entire benefit that the government is going to grant under the RoadTep scheme will be subject to the realization of export receipts. So, if the exporter hasn't realized the export receipts within the prescribed time limit under FEMA, then the benefit won't be available. Also, the government the government is thinking to adopt certain safeguards for the non-realization of export proceeds and other systematic improvements that are presently applicable in case of duty drawback and GST refunds. So the same can be applied to the RoadTep scheme as well. However, there is no clarity as to what safeguards they're going to follow. But yes, this is what they have mentioned till now. Now, as we are highlighting from the beginning of our webinar, this benefit is still not certain and it can keep on reducing with, as the time passes if the said benefits upshoots the budgeted outlay. So that is again very, very disappointing for everyone. Now, if we see the benefits, so through Appendix 4R, what the government did, they have notified the RoadTep benefit rates. And in Appendix 4R, they have conspicuously missed out certain products. Few key products that they missed out are as follows, like chapter 24 covering tobacco has been missed. 25 covering salt, sulfur, lime, and cement. Again, they have been missed. 28 and 29 covering the chemicals, inorganic and organic. No rate has been specified. For chapter 30, pharmaceutical products, no rate has been specified. And that is why it was in news that the pharmaceutical companies and associations thereof are filing representations to reconsider their decision. Then 61 to 63 chapters covering textile articles, they haven't been covered, and this might be because of the reason of ROSCTL, that is the simultaneous benefit that have been granted to these products. Then chapters 72 and 73, iron and steel, again have been kept outside. And this is a big surprise for the exporters, because iron and steel must be having lots of fuel, electricity cost embedded in their final product, and yet they are not eligible for the reimbursement. So this is again very shocking. Now with these benefits, like earlier we discussed, there are few chapters that have been intentionally left out from the Appendix 4R. Along with those misses, there are few ineligible categories that are there under the RoTEP scheme, and those are if the goods have been imported for the purpose of export. So if it's like your trade goods, then those are ineligible. If the goods are exported through transshipment, so originated from third country but exported, the export are directed through India, then again those are ineligible categories. If the export goods are subject to minimum export price or export duty, then those are ineligible. Restricted, prohibited goods, no RoDTEP benefit will be given. Deemed exports, for example, supplies made to export-oriented units, no benefit. If the supplies are made to SEZ, free trade warehouse zones, no benefit. Then if the goods are manufactured in electronic hardware technology and biotechnological parks, no benefits are available. If the same are manufactured in customs bonded warehouse, again, ineligible category. If they are manufactured and exported under jobbing notification, then RoDTEP benefit cannot be availed. Where the documentation is not filed electronically on the iScale, the benefit won't be available. But presently, these scenarios are very, very less. These days, everything is done electronically only. If the exports are made through non-EDI ports, then again, those are the ineligible categories. If someone is exporting used goods, then no benefit will be available. Apart from that list, which we covered just now, the government has kept 3 more ineligible categories in such a way that the same might be included in future if the RoDTEP committee suggests to do so. So those categories are if the exports are made by 100% export-oriented units, if the exports are made by SEZ units, or if the exporters are exporting against advanced authorization DFIA benefits, then these might get included in future if the RoDTEP committee suggests. Here, it's important to note that, say, if presently the exporter is availing the advance authorization benefit. Now, if you're going for an advance authorization benefit, you cannot claim RoDTEP benefit simultaneously. This is the present list. We do not know about the future. But say, in this list, they haven't covered duty drawback benefit. So it's very important for an exporter to analyze as to what combination of schemes is going to grant more benefit to the entity. So this is the task one must undertake and make a prudent decision thereafter. Now, after understanding the entire outline, let's understand what's the process of availing such benefit. So here, first the exporter needs to make a declaration in its shipping bill just to show their intention of availing RoDTEP benefit. Then they have to create an electronic credit ledger on the iScale portal. Thus, credits will be generated in that electronic credit ledger. Now, those credits will then be converted into scripts. As stated earlier also, these scripts can only be utilized for the payment of BCD, that is your basic customs duty, plus each scripts are transferable to the entity having import-export code and ISCAPE registration. So with this, I request Puneet to share some possible way forward steps that are that could be there for our participants that have joined today. Over to you.
Thank you, Parul, for comprehensively covering RoadTip scheme. So on way forward, before I start, I'll take up the question which most of the exporters have, or even the Ganesh asked, that the actual incidence was higher, but what they have got is on lower side. So if we see the whole scheme, the scheme does not uh, enable or give an option to exporters that they can represent if the rate is on lower side. As we discussed, that it's government's prerogative whether to grant a benefit and how much we have to grant. So very candidly, in my view, with regard to fixation of rates, if it is on lower side, the exporters do not have an option. Secondly, similarly, it's unfortunate that many of the sectors like, say, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, steel, etc., have been excluded. They can surely represent, but I'm not very sure as to whether government will consider their inclusion. So on way forward, firstly, there is a ray of hope, I'll say, for advanced authorization holders, EOU and SEZ units, that even though firstly they have put under ineligible category, but yes, they have empowered RoadTep committee to give benefit to these units. Unfortunately, the government has not provided as to what factors or criteria will be considered by RoadTep committee, but yes, our first recommendation to exporter community will be that they must represent, especially SEZ, EOU, and advanced authorization holders, represent to RoadTep committee for granting benefit to them. Second important point, which Parul also highlighted, and this is relevant for exporters who are eligible for benefit. So as we discussed that presently an advance authorization holder is not eligible for RoadTep benefit. So if at a macro level we see both advance authorization and duty drawback are meant for compensating basic customs duty which is incurred on the raw materials. So even though one is an upfront exemption and second is in the form of a refund, but overall objective remains the same. So yes, the intelligible differentia as to excluding advance authorization and not excluding duty drawback is missing. So from that perspective, the exporter should explore that can they shift to duty drawback so that they also start getting RoadTep. Then some of the exporters will come out with a situation that the exemption which they get under advance authorization is higher than the duty drawback rate fixed for them. So in that also we want to highlight that the duty drawback has an option to claim brand rate in which we can get duty drawback of the actual incidence. So if the exporters who are presently availing advance authorization getting a higher benefit, they can shift to a brand rate of duty drawback and simultaneously avail RoadTep benefit. And thirdly, yes, these scale of scripts will qualify as an exempt supply in the GST. So you need to raise a bill of supply and undertake reversal of pro rata input tax credit. With this, we come to the end of the session. Thank you for joining in very, very large number.